Hey guys, and welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley,
I'm Connor Collins.
and today we've got something kind of exciting.
Yes.
We've discovered some things.
Yes.
We're discovering things
Yes.
all the time.
This is
Aren't
awful
we?
jokes, Stuart. Wow, quality on Trekyards.
I'm,
Yes.
I'm trying. So we got some new new pictures of the discovery. One picture.
It just came out minutes ago. We are on the ball for this, and we are excited.
Yeah, so what's it for, Samuel, and where did we get this?
San Diego Comic-Con, StarTrek.com just released these as part of their breakdown of what's happening at San Diego Comic-Con for the Star Trek. Most of the cast is going, which is amazing. And this is one of their promotional pieces. On the header, there's a really good close-up, and this is their full poster. And boy, is it revealing some good stuff. You know, we've seen some other pictures of Discovery top and the sort of side top, but not enough detail. This really gives a lot of the detail and a lot of the differences. And I've went ahead and watched the previous trailer, and so I know a lot of the differences. But Stuart, let's go to that detail shot. What do you think, and what really stands out to you, Stuart, on this new? And again, we are mere weeks away from Discovery being released, so this is probably the final.
Well, in this close-up shot, the first thing that stands out to me is the addition to the deflector array of the spiky bit in the middle, which looks absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
And I think it was a great addition. It's a lot bulkier than just the standard spire that we see on the NX or the NCC 1701 Constitution class. It's kind of like a bulked up one, and I like that. A lot of complaints about the original one we saw was just the motion era
Refit,
type deflector, yeah.
Absolutely.
But this one is a nice combination of both, and I like it.
Yeah, obviously, it's got the two prong like the Columbia, which is the last ship before this one in the timeline that we see. So that's, you know, the two prongs is the way of the future, and the Shinzao has also got the two prongs. So there is that continuity between the two ships. Yeah, it's really. That's unusual. It doesn't seem, well, 8-brain to me, it doesn't seem very structurally sound. Such a small little, you know, refit sort of ish style hole, and then these big deflector pieces coming out. It's not the design I would have thought to go for, but it certainly does call back to other things, I think.
Yeah, and it's much more era appropriate, I think, having things sticking out of the deflector array like that. So
yeah,
I like it. I do like the multi-pronged approach and the thickness of it. I think it looks sturdy. It looks
it also
substantial.
speaks to a potentially unique role, because that's a new design. So that could be saying this ship has a unique purpose. You know, maybe it's a specialist deflector, because that is just something different. You know. You could sort of say an evolution of the NX-1, maybe that it's still in that casing. It's still, you know, that larger outer shell with the inner circle, and inside that has all these grillings. And the NX-1 obviously had this outer dish with inside blue grilling, and there's little things there. So you know, you can sort of see a slight pullback. But yeah, that's certainly unusual. And I'm interested. Should I say anything that I see next, Stuart?
Sure, you go with something.
Well, we've got the well, obviously now we know, and we saw it in the previous clip, but the saucer, which originally had those Franklin-style grates on the top, has now been replaced with Vengeance-ish style see-through, you know, ring bits. It's now, you know, a ring of a ring of a ring, but the internal space, we suppose bridge module, sort of Daedalus class, you know, ball in the middle, has also got a ring around it, and it's got this hugely lit dome at the bottom, and if you look very closely, you can see it's in a checkered, it's in a pattern. It's in lots of little hexagons with lights around it, and that's kind of an original in the original trailer, which again was made in like 2 weeks the model or a week, had nothing there at all. It was, you know, this is new that it's been lit. What do you think, Stuart?
Well, I do like the honeycomb pattern. I think that looks really neat. Again, I'm looking forward to something special going on, and with that configuration, like some kind of unique design, something that we haven't seen before, maybe. I think that'd be cool. So I'm really excited about that. The cutouts in the hull are very unique. Like the negative space looks cool, but again, I think it's too much of a callback to reference to the Vengeance, like you said. Again, establishing more of kind of a JJ aesthetic for this universe. But I rather like it, to be honest.
If you recall in a previous video, I said that in terms of auxiliary ship, you know, if it was able to, you know, drop as a secondary, its source separation is in a ring can separate. That's why those things can pull out, and which would be a cool, the predecessor to source separation is mid-saucer detachment. If you want to save the ship, the crew, you have that, which is certainly odd. But visually speaking, it looks like one of those Tron discs from Legacy. If you take the secondary hull away, which is fine. It's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's interesting. And I do like this ball in the middle. And I hope it's like a Daedalus reference, because it's way more ball. When you take out those natural graceful curves that Connie has, it looks like a ball, which is a callback.
Another thing that doesn't jump out to me, but since we're on the subject of the ball and it's kind of close to that, the phaser banks on this.
Yes.
There's at least, judging by the spacing, there's going to be at least 7 turrets of 2 each, which is pretty heavy firepower.
Very.
We thought they had kind of altered that a little bit. I think in the last discussion we had on Discovery, could be the top is different, but the bottom still has quite an armament. I mean, the first one we saw did have quite a few phaser arrays on the top.
More
as
than
well.
Excelsior.
Yeah. Which for the time and the fact that they're ball turrets is kind of odd again, but I do like the way they're.
Or to be fair, they look flatter than ball turrets. They could be hatches where things come out, which would be an Exo 1. It'd be a beautiful in between step, and it would link the JJ pulse cannons. So visually speaking, it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Sort of. So that'd actually be that'd be kind of a win for them actually, visually.
Yeah.
Because people associate pew 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 with sort of turrets as opposed to a ball like a security camera. So good job there, I think, probably.
Yeah, I think so. But
another thing I noticed, Joe, we've got the potential landing legs. We've got two of those those 2 triangle points at the front of the saucer.
Oh yes, the eyebrows are there.
The eyebrows
I didn't even
are
notice
back.
that.
Yeah, and they link from. There isn't another 2 on the back because those have got those grilling that the previous model had.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that'd be doubly cool. And the whole thing can land maybe. But they are back. That is definitely a reference to the TOS, which is always nice to see.
Yeah, I can't see where it would saucer separate though, with the way that's integrated. That whole thing at the neck. I don't know.
Well,
unless the whole neck separates.
Yeah, it would probably be explosive detachment. Like we've got some basic lines of.
Still,
it's tricky, but I think it's more like we are sacrificing our ship to escape rather than more like the original Connie, just less clean lines. So what else do you notice? Because actually a lot of little things in this.
Another thing I noticed right away, it kind of gives a motion picture vibe, is the almost like the chiller grill along the leading edge of the wing assembly there. It's the same color as we got in the motion picture. It's got that purple glow to it, which is nice, because we all know that the chiller grills are actually purple, not blue, even though in later movies they looked blue because of the filters they used and things. I'm lighting mine purple, just so you know. But I like that motion picture purple
saying
glow.
The original version we saw in the first trailer, they weren't lit.
They weren't lit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No. We sort of said there might have been a shuttle bay, maybe, possibly doors.
Yeah.
But what do you think this is? Because that's a pretty hefty. Yeah, everything lit on a starship actually means something. That's a lot of the hull to be lit. What do you think?
I have no idea. Because it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be the same functionality as the chiller grills on the warp drive, because there's it's supposed to have line of sight of each other, those things, and these definitely don't because they're facing out. So I don't know. I want to see some kind of intake of some sort, but that's just the typical response for this kind of thing. So
that's really interesting, actually. I mean, they could be Bassard vents. The reason I say that is, should we go on to the other picture again? It's less detailed, but if you go to the original picture, we do see sort of clear enough the engines, which are different. Now, we have, like I said, we've said before, we have seen other versions of this ship that have been between the Alpha and this final, and this is different to that, so it's kind of see something else. These engines, they are definitely sleeker, simpler, whatever, but the front, gone are the 3 very distinct Bassards. Now we have what appears to be a central whole Bassard thing, 2 underneath and nothing on the top, with kind of a slanted up vibe, not lit. I'm intrigued. What is your take on this?
That's a good question. It's a great question.
Thank you.
Again, going on with the speculating with no information. I mean, this is what we do. It's fun. I did notice too at the top of the nacelle, at the very leading edge of the top, there's like 2 cutouts on each side. I don't know if you can see that if you zoom in, but it's I don't know. I like it. I like the 3 the 3 Bizarre Collector look. I thought that was very cool and kind of an older version of what we would have seen on the Constitution class, so it fit. This is again very neat. The fact that they've kept the circular part and even the 3, but made the 2 other ones smaller. No red glow though that we can see, but that doesn't mean there won't be any. This is just like a drawing, so who knows what's in there exactly. But I do like the cutout recessed idea for Bizarre Collector. I think that's very neat. That's what I have to say about that.
They look like holes, but if they are all red Bizarres, this I think does follow something. If we're to upscale the engines, we're pushing the one Bizarre, as far as our technology can push the one single dome, 2 minor ones to cover secondary intake, or even filtering other things. Just it's a functional element. I hope they're not actually just holes, because that makes it feel very empty. I know obviously the refit had no glowing pieces there, but boy are we not in that era. Although again, the technically the cage connie had no glowing; it was just red paint.
Maybe they're missile launchers.
Good, yeah.
Maybe that's the whole nacelle is a
good.
Yeah. Ammo
this is why I jumped into this though, because the purple bits could be the intakes, and they just filter down the wing into the engines.
Lead right into the engines. Yeah, exactly.
And that would be a really interesting way of doing something very, very different. Maybe the deflector, charges the particles inside the emitters, and besides, so it polarizes and able to filter out certain chemicals, so you get in the correct stellar matter. There, I sound smart and fancy.
I just smell BS. That's what I smell.
One more thing on this one before I go, which we're back to the other one. There is 2 little spotlights at the bottom of the hull, so there is self-illumination. If you jump back to the close-up picture, there definitely is self-illumination, because you can see, on the left side of the saucer where the NCC bit is, that is self-illuminated, which is again is another NX / whatever. But actually, the other side isn't, which is weird. But I don't see it as I see a little raised rectangle light sticking out of the hull, pushing down onto the thing, rather than because these things are never actually lit by real lights. Kind of, if you look at the 3D models, there's never actually a light there, ever. And okay, what?
Well, when you build a physical model of the refit, let's say, all of the self-illumination do have little spotlights located somewhere, whether they be on the bottom of the nacelles pointing at the secondary hull or whatever. There always is spotlight placement, because you do, except for, at the rear of the engines, where you kind of have to do, but there's supposed to be something there. Anyway.
But it looks like a more technological sort of, which I kind of like.
Just the other thing I wanted to touch on real quick is the nacelles on the first picture. I love the shape of them now. They're not as boxy all the way back, which I didn't mind. I didn't have a problem with, because like I said, I've liked the Alpha design of the Discovery. This one though, I love the fact that they come to almost a point, and they've got the little raised cooler bits at the back as well,
which look nice. It helps the profile.
It's a nice tie-in with TOS and even the refit. So I'm really digging the new engines. The new nacelles look amazing. So
I absolutely agree. I just I hope the facades are lit. That's my only thing. Apart from them, they're really interesting. But back to the close-up again, which I really like this picture. I love that Aztec patterning. The way they've done this is, the other one was so, the Alpha was so bland and bare and just, orange like the Kelvin we see in the movie. But this Aztec pattern is so vibrant and so there, and it has so much Trek behind it. It might not be necessarily era appropriate exactly, but it's certainly an NX-01 progression / refit. It is very a Trek thing, and it really stands out here. And you can see, the black classic hull on the one side, and then when the light hits the Aztecing, it looks great.
Yeah, I gotta agree with all that. And it does tie in with the NX era as well as the refit era. Kind of TOS era is there was a little bit of Aztecing lately, faintly maybe.
Well, Intermo Dark Clubs added it back in, but so the deflector links to the NX, the lower sensor dome being lit links to the it doesn't actually link to the NX, but I guess maybe the NX-02 or something. But what do you think about the size of the ship? Because it is, what is worth saying, this ship is very, very similar to the Alpha. People were speculating, it's going to change, or the Shinzao is now the Discovery, because people hate it so much. Now how TV works, sorry guys. And we knew from the start it would be changed a bit, but not radically. The design was there for a reason. And we saw some steps along the way, and this is certainly in line with what we've been seeing. but new, which is great for stuff to talk about. Sort of supersedes what we know, but it's good to be able to see it. But what do you think about the sizing? Because the neck to me looks identical, but the saucer, well, you know the refit, you know the Connie, the size of the windows. How big is this ship, do you think?
That's a tough question, actually. I'm thinking it's probably, based on that saucer size, maybe a little bit bigger diameter-wise than like the Constitution class. Yeah. Not substantially bigger, but enough that it would make a difference. Lengthwise, I'm sure it's just a little bit longer than the Constitution class as well, especially with the way those engines trail back like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just the way they've sleeked and they've shaved and they've narrowed and they've just debulkified the ship. That was a lot of the complaints that people had initially, and I think it's all flowing together really nicely. As for sizing, though, I think it's just a little bit bigger than a Constitution class.
Well, it's still one deck at the rim of the saucer, and then two maybe in the more internal line, and obviously it gets more as it goes along. One more thing I noticed, the saucer now looks either to have a nice gentle, like full-on, curvy hull, or a very slight curve. The original version had more of a, this on its edge. It was much more pointy. You could get our model modified, but there's actually a like trench on the inside, which is interesting. There's a subtle intake, which is certainly new. But yeah, I think this is. I mean, we knew from the Alpha Discovery, based on the proportions, it was the saucer was bigger, but I think it won't be ridiculous compared to the Connie. Just because you see that one deck thickness.
I'm not sure I agree with you about the curviness of the saucer edge. I mean,
it's more organically curved, though.
At the back, it looks organically curved. At the front, it still looks like it's got the regular Constitution class angling. I think it just could be the way the artist did it. I'm not so it could be either or, or it could be both. It could change as it goes back towards. It could be round at the back.
I do think this is a rendering of the ship, just added some photoshopping, because the details are very CG, and the lighting some of the lighting you wouldn't draw in.
It's like an artist rendition to me. So, personally, I think I don't work with 3D models all the time like you do. So,
indeed, I wanna. Do you think that you see in this close up the lit side of the front part of the secondary hull? Do you think those grills actually can continue all the way? Because there's like a recessed hole piece the rest of the way.
Yeah.
I wonder what the function of that whole zone is.
I don't know. Could be full of greeblies. It could all light up. Depending whether they're at full warp or not. It's a 2-stage thing or something. This is only the stage 1 lit up. Who knows? Again, just speculation at this point. But
and another reference: the Discovery is on the bottom, like the refit, which is not on the Connie and not on the NX. That is a thing. But also the sizing of it. I mean, the sizing of the original text was really big. This is really small and quaint. The scaling. To wit, the other, because if you remember the other Discovery picture, the top view, it was on the front saucer line, and it was.
Well, it still might be on the top.
I hope not, though, because this works just fine. I think this is where I would have put it roughly.
Either way, I'd be happy. I kind of like the way it looked up front, but.
So let's end on this first picture, the full view of the new USS Discovery. We are so close to it being done, and I think we just said in our Klingon video, I think we'll see the ship flying in this new. San Diego Comic-Con last year they released it, didn't do that well. This year they'll come out with an even sexy trailer where this will be in it, and the CG will be 1,000 times better, and it will blow our socks off, I think, and we will be here to talk about all those other little details, even if it's not the most Cage era, because it really isn't.
Yeah.
It certainly is looking like Star Trek themed. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, final question on this version. I guess the Beta Mark III. Better or worse than the previous version? And do you think fans should be happier with the steps it's been taking?
I'd say much better than the last one, even though I really loved the last one. I mean, that's hard for me to say, but I think this one's a much better version of it, and I think that fans should be a lot happier with the changes that they've made. I think they listened to a lot of what was said, especially in regards to the deflector and things, and they've really, like you said, it was only like a week to build that last one before the trailer was made, so this is definitely a refinement, and I think they did listen to the fans, and added a few things or maybe subtracted a few things that would make a lot of people a little bit happier. So
And
I think they'd be happier.
I do kind of like they did keep to their original vision. They just refined it. Because they had a vision for a reason, you know, even if it's going to sink or swim, stick with, you know, the vision you have and, you know, let it sink or swim. So there you go, guys. A brand new Discovery-ish. See if it's the final. And I'm going to say, Stuart, we haven't filmed for a little while. This has been a fun episode to look at this new ship.
Oh, it has, absolutely.
We love ships, and boy, that close-up is a nice shot.
I'm waiting to see the new trailer from San Diego Comic-Con and any little pieces that they release, because we're going to be doing videos on them and just getting to the nitty-gritty nuts and bolts of the whole thing and just talking about it. So I'm looking forward to that. Hope you enjoyed the video, and looking forward to more from San Diego Comic-Con, like I said. So hopefully you appreciate this new take on Discovery a little bit better, or if you hate it more, whatever, let us know in the comments below. Just tell us your thoughts, and looking forward to reading all those. And there's going to be a lot more stuff coming really quick between now and September, so stay tuned, guys. We'll have a lot to talk about. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Coggins.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.